The main event was the long-awaited return grudge match between Cody Rhodes and Malakai Black. And I mean, you know, we've said that Malakai Black is one of the guys that he's interesting, he's spooky, he's a grown man, his shit looks good. You know, he's greenish in spots, and he had the mind games thing he was playing for a while there made it odd, but that, you know, this is a guy's been getting over, and every time that he and Cody come anywhere near each other, the people are cheering Malakai Black like he, you know, just saved a baby from a burning building, and they're booing Cody out of the place, right? And it was the same during this match. But there were parts of this match that were very good, and parts of this match, I don't know what the fuck was going on. And I think it comes from, Cody can work, and Malakai Black can work pretty. He's got a different style, but they don't do too bad when they're working with each other. But they have to use so many smoke and mirrors and you know, just it's overbooked in some cases. There was no Brandy here. That was a positive. Arn Anderson was ringside, but they started out hot. Cody started going for the figure four. For what I didn't know, they'd had a issue over the figure four, but he kept going for it a bunch. But it was quick-paced wrestling with just the heel being cheered and the babyface being booed. But then for their break spot, they did a deal where Malakai Black just goes out and pulls a chair out from under the ring and slides it in the ring, but Cody grabs it, and here comes Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson to the ring. So their break spot is, well, what's going to happen here? But the babyface has a chair and 3 seconds at ringside, and the heel's out there all by himself, barehanded. So there's our breaks. Usually when you go to a break spot, shouldn't the babyface be in jeopardy? Oh my God, what's going to happen? But in this case, like, well, Malakai Black's going to get that shit kicked out of him by all these motherfuckers. Don't go away. Was that kind of the vibe you got?
Yeah, look, every Cody match is like a wrestling blender. It's a bunch of things that worked 30 years ago. You put them in a blender, and whatever order they come out in, just do it.
Well, anyway, apparently during the break, Cody Rhodes gave Malakai Black a crossroads off the apron through a table onto the floor.
During the break.
During the break. But at least they showed it when they came back. Well, during the break, here's what happened. And Cody took the worst of the bump. He gave the guy his move, which involves him flying off the apron of the ring and crashing back first through a table. And they didn't take the I don't know what you call it, but there is on some of these tables, there's a band around the table. It's sometimes they're plastic, sometimes they're some type of aluminum or metal or whatever, but there's a band around the edge of the table. And when they break, that thing just pops up. Well, Cody went through the table and the fucking band came right over the top of his face. And that, you know, anyway, Cody took the worst of the bump in giving the other guy his finish off the apron of the ring, but that gave Malakai Black an excuse to get a little color. But then he shoved Cody into the post and he got color. And both of them sold laying around on the floor forever. So we started hot and at a quick pace. We slowed things down when we went to the break. Coming back from the break, we'd seen during the break, we had a big table bump. And now they're just kind of laying around bleeding. And suddenly, here comes Andre Oli Olio down the aisleway. What help me try to remember, because there's so much of this. Why is Andre and his assistant mad at Cody?
Well, if you remember, you didn't watch the last match on Rampage was Pac, as he's otherwise known, versus Andrade.
Yeah.
And Malakai came out, leading to Cody coming out through the crowd. From everything I know, that was the introduction of all these characters into this feud.
But wait a minute. Why did Malakai come out with Andre versus Pac? Whose side was Malakai on?
At first they teased you didn't know, and then he was on Andrade's side. It was all a plot from Andrade, his former WWE cohort, to attack Pac, who, I don't know if he was one of their cohorts. He may have left before they got there.
Oh, boy. So anyway, Andre comes down the aisle, but his assistant is in the ring and and Arn's standing in the ring, because now that since the guys in the match are laying on the floor bleeding, so Arn Anderson is in the ring. But then Andre comes down the aisle, but then Andre's assistant is in the ring and tries to hit Arn with the laptop, but Arn spine busters him and pops up to his feet, and Malakai Black is in the ring and blows the mist in Arn's face. But for one thing, he missed Arn's eyes, and he got the top of Arn's head, so it looked like Arn had a hairdo from Earl Scheib.
Yeah, it wasn't his face at all.
There was no black anywhere around his eyes. But the referee is standing there on the floor watching everything that's going on. Was this a no disqualification match? Was this a street fight? Was that what? There are just people that have come in. Nobody in the match is in the ring. Everybody that's in the ring doing shit is not even involved in the match. And then the mist misses. The mist missed. And then Pac attacks Andre and fights him off. They fight off, Brian. And then Cody and Malakai Black get back in the ring and they start having the match again. And then Malakai Black hit a very pretty moonsault body block. He ran to the ropes, jumped up on the second rope, did the moonsault. Cody standing on his feet, and Malakai Black took him right out of his boots and bam, and planted him right flat on the ring. And then Malakai Black pops up to his feet, and so does Cody Rhodes. After he just got planted with that moonsault body block, he popped right up and grabbed Malakai Black in the crossroads and hit that and got a 2 count. Okay, so we're just trading shit now without bothering to register the effects of it. And they continue having their match again after all this shit just happened in the middle. Now Cody Rhodes is kicking the shit out of Malakai Black, and the fans are booing him. But suddenly Malakai Black comes off the top with a great double foot stomp. Holy shit, made Balor's look bad because this guy's fucking a lot heavier, and he got higher.
That was the best foot stomp I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it looked safe, too. Not that I want to be laying there to find out, but it was very well done. And then he hit a German suplex, got a 2 count. And then Malakai Black hits his spin kick, that kick that he's been knocking everybody out with, right? He's knocked them all. Their knees freeze and their liver quiver when he hits that kick. And Cody takes it and falls into the ropes, kind of over the middle rope, so he can't be pinned, right? Which was good. The guy just hit his finish, but Cody's in the ropes. But then, suddenly, when the referee backed Malakai Black up or whatever, Cody stood up and ran across the ring toward Malakai Black right after taking that kick. And Black backdrops him over the top, but Cody lands on his feet on the floor, so Black climbs up to the top rope and does a moonsault off the top rope to the floor, but Cody has slid into the ring. Black wouldn't have hit Cody. Cody slid in the ring before Black even took off, but Black lands on his feet, and then Cody hits a dive through the ropes, throws him back in the ring, and hits the Cody Cutter off the ropes, plus a crossroads, plus a double arm pile driver, and then pinned him 1, 2, 3. So thanks for coming, Malakai Black. Remember what I talked about? Where was Malakai Black's out? Where was his bitch? Malakai Black hits his finish that's knocked everybody else goofy, and Cody sells it for 10 seconds, and then he's running again. They do this crazy sequence where they're just flipping and landing, and then Cody just hits basically 1, 2, 3, 4 big moves in a row and pins him flat in the middle. There is no question that Cody Rhodes beat Malakai Black. He just beat him. And the kids these days think that somehow made Malakai Black strong, because they'll say, well, look, it took a dive, and it took a Cody cutter, and it took a crossroads, and it took a double arm pile driver for you to beat him. So it made him look strong. No. It made it look like you took a fucking hammer and beat him into powder right in the middle of the ring with move after move, and then beat him, and then wiped your feet on him on the way out. When the babyface gets a Hail Mary move that stuns the fucking heel for the requisite 3 seconds to get a pin, that's great. When the babyface hits 4 uncontested finishes on a motherfucker and pins him, that guy just got beat. And then, after that, Arn was up talking to Cody. He had a towel. He was dabbing his eye like he was crying. He was overcome with emotion. And he's up talking to Cody and toweling his face off. And then you could see more that the mist missed his face because there was no black around his eyes. But we just gave Malakai Black 4 big moves and pinned him flat in the middle after taking his finish kick, and his fucking mist didn't even incapacitate a 60-year-old retired wrestler past having to towel his face off. I'm not scared of this guy anymore. Your thoughts?
Wow, where to begin? I was impressed with Malakai Black in the match. I thought he looked great. I thought the moonsault body press looked great. The kicks looked great. The German suplex looked great. The mist, he's either got to drop it or learn how to get someone near their face.
Yeah.
He's getting everyone on top of their head, unless it's sponsored by Keeps. I don't know how this is going to really help anyone. The problem is the finish was wrong. Whatever you want to say about the style, look, every Cody match is overbooked. Even the ones you love, there's way too much shit at ringside, way too much smoke and mirrors, because Cody can't just go in the ring and work a match. He can't do it. He has a block. He's a mental block. He can't do it. But the rejection of Cody by the AEW fans was a long time coming, and some of us saw it well before it came.
You called it.
And we'll talk about Rhodes to the Top in a little bit, but the idea that, especially with the reaction there, because Miami, you didn't see Rampage, it was taped, Cody got a pretty nice pop. I heard from people in the building that night, wow, the fans here cheered for Cody. And I said, no, it's Miami. They would have cheered for anything that night. I saw that show. The only thing they were going to boo was Dan Lambert. They were going to cheer everything else. And I was right, because Cody got booed out of Orlando brutally. Thank God Brandy wasn't there. It would have been really bad then. But what do you do now with Cody? Because they've tried to do this reclamation project. The fans aren't taking to him. It's either public posturing, where he's saying publicly that he doesn't want to turn heel, beyond the reality show and other interviews, that he can never do that. He can never turn his back on the fans, which, I mean, give me a break.
Well,
it's either that or there's a major tone-deaf problem right now where Cody is trying to force himself down everyone's throat, a la Jeff Jarrett, a la Triple H at their worst, in a way that no one wants him to be right now. And unless you embrace it, I think it works if you fully embrace it. Heel Cody, break the stipulation, give him the world title. Brandy gets to be the heel that she wants to be. If you keep Arn around, Arn's more effective as a fucking heel than just a friendly old coach. It all makes sense, but if they're fighting it and it looks like they're having a real difficult time accepting the reality, there's a problem, and this finish was a problem.
Well, and honestly, it would be brilliant if his constant statements everywhere about I'm not going to turn heel are the beginning of his heel turn. Of course, I don't like somebody coming out and saying, well, I'm not going to turn heel, because then that obviously says, oh, I do fake shit. And I just, it's not really me. It's just how I decide to act. Do I want people to like me or not? So it's more fake wrestling bullshit when you say, I don't want to turn heel. But if if his heel turn begins by him saying, I'm not going to turn heel, and then he just claims, I haven't turned heel, you people have, or something like that, it might be interesting. But yes, Malakai Black has beaten him, twice now?
Yeah.
So yes, you can't beat the babyface all the time, and the babyface does need to get some rebuttal or whatever, but this is beginning to be a pattern. And we've talked about it. Somebody comes in, Cody puts him over strong, gets wiped out, carried out, goes off and shoots a reality show or a game show and comes back and gets even. And this time he got beat twice and then came back and got even. But I don't know if it was time for Malakai Black to have gotten even with, or to get even with Malakai Black at this point. He's still new, and they know what they've got with Cody. And part of the reason I think he's got the heat is because he keeps leaving and going to do other TV shows. Because, I mean, the wrestling fans 30 years ago and the wrestling fans today maybe only have one thing in common, and that's that they don't like the wrestlers that they think don't want to be in the wrestling business and are trying to do other shit. That's, and
it's bigger than that with Cody.
Well, it's bigger than that with Cody, but I'm saying that's the only thing that the two sets of fans from years ago and now maybe have in common, is that they all would have felt that way at any point in time.